Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring Power versus Force, The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior by David R. Hawkins. This book dives into the subtle forces shaping our thoughts, actions, and behaviors, and explains how understanding these forces can help us rise to higher levels of consciousness, make better decisions, and lead more fulfilling lives. In this video, we'll cover the key concepts from Hawkins' famous map of consciousness to the difference between power and force, and how we can practically apply this knowledge to improve our lives and relationships. The concept of power versus force. Hawkins begins by differentiating between power and force. Force is something we commonly experience in our world. It's about control, coercion, or trying to exert dominance over a situation. Power, however, is entirely different. Power is natural, effortless, and sustainable. It's the energy of truth, integrity, and alignment with a greater good. Force versus power in action. Imagine a workplace scenario where a manager tries to enforce strict rules through intimidation or threats. That's force. In contrast, a manager who inspires their team, leads by example, and communicates the importance of the project is harnessing power. The latter approach tends to have more lasting results and builds stronger morale. Implementation tip. Reflect on your interactions, whether with friends, family, or colleagues. Are you relying on force to make things happen, or are you allowing the situation to flow naturally through power? Aim to inspire rather than control. The map of consciousness. One of Hawkins' most famous contributions in Power versus Force is the map of consciousness. This map categorizes different levels of consciousness on a scale from 1 to 1,000. The lower levels, such as shame, guilt, and fear, are associated with force, while the higher levels, like love, peace, and enlightenment, embody power. Understanding the scale. Levels below 200, such as anger, fear, and pride, are detrimental to well-being. They deplete energy and rely on force. However, when someone reaches courage, level 200 and above, they start accessing power. The emotions and qualities above courage, like neutrality, willingness, and acceptance, are increasingly life-affirming and empowering. Example of implementation. Think about a challenging situation you're facing. If you approach it from fear or anger, it likely won't resolve positively. But if you shift your mindset to courage or acceptance, you'll find a way to move forward with strength and clarity. The practical application of emotional levels. Hawkins gives practical guidance on moving through these emotional levels. He suggests that as we identify where we are on the map of consciousness, we can actively work to transcend lower states. The goal is not to deny our emotions, but to observe, accept, and release them. Example of shifting levels. Let's say you're feeling guilt or shame after a disagreement with someone. Acknowledge those feelings without judgment. Then, focus on raising your energy by considering ways to forgive yourself or make amends if needed. Gradually, this approach can elevate your state to willingness or even acceptance. Implementation tip. Journal daily about your emotional state. Are you frequently in fear or anger? Practice shifting to courage by reframing challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Power in relationships and communication. In relationships, Hawkins emphasizes how higher consciousness can strengthen connections. When we act from states of power, like empathy, love, and acceptance, we naturally foster more harmonious relationships. Powerful communication. Imagine two friends in a disagreement. Friend A accuses friend B, leading to defensiveness and more conflict. If friend A had approached the conversation with empathy and a desire to understand, the dynamic would be completely different. Practical implementation. Next time you're in a tense conversation, ask yourself if you're communicating from a place of force or power. Practice active listening and remain open, aiming to understand rather than just respond. Kinesiology and truth testing. Hawkins introduces the concept of kinesiology as a tool for discerning truth from falsehood. This technique involves muscle testing, where a strong response indicates alignment with truth and a weak response suggests falsehood. According to Hawkins, this method helps us tap into the body's innate wisdom, Real-world example of truth testing. Suppose you're unsure about a major life decision, such as switching careers. By practicing muscle testing or using intuition as a guide, you can gain clarity on whether this choice aligns with your higher self or is motivated by lower-level concerns like fear or guilt. Implementation tip. While muscle testing might take some practice, Hawkins encourages honing your intuition to make decisions that resonate with truth and authenticity. Power, politics, and society. Hawkins discusses how power and force manifest on a societal level. When leaders or institutions operate from a place of force, using coercion or manipulation, there's often resistance and chaos. But leaders who lead with power inspire unity and progress. Historical examples. Hawkins points to figures like Gandhi, who used nonviolent resistance, power, instead of force. His approach had a far-reaching and lasting impact because it aligned with higher principles of truth and compassion, influencing millions and creating real change. Implementation tip. When evaluating leaders or public figures, observe whether their actions stem from power or force. This awareness helps us align ourselves with more conscious and ethical movements in society. Healing and energy flow. The book also explores how staying at higher consciousness levels promotes physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Hawkins explains that low energy states can lead to stress and illness, while higher levels like peace and love foster healing and vitality. Example in health. Many people with chronic illnesses find that stress reduction and meditation improve their symptoms. By letting go of anger or resentment and embracing forgiveness or joy, the body's natural healing mechanisms can activate. Implementation tip. Practice daily meditation, focusing on cultivating positive emotions like gratitude, compassion, and peace. This shift can enhance physical and mental well-being. Overcoming fear and embracing courage. Hawkins suggests that courage, the level at which force transitions into power, is one of the most transformative states. Courage is about overcoming fear and taking action despite uncertainty, which opens doors to growth and greater consciousness. Implementing courage in daily life. If you're hesitant to pursue a passion or speak up for yourself, recognize that fear is holding you in a low-energy state. By embracing courage and acting regardless of the fear, you'll move toward higher consciousness and empowerment. Practical tip. Set a goal to practice one act of courage each week. Whether it's starting a new project, initiating a difficult conversation, or stepping out of your comfort zone, each courageous act strengthens your alignment with power. Transcending pride, embracing humility. Hawkins addresses the trap of pride and how it can block us from reaching true power. Pride is closely tied to the ego, and while it can feel good temporarily, it often leads to defensiveness and a need to prove oneself. True power, however, is grounded in humility and self-acceptance. Example of humility in practice. Think of a time when admitting a mistake felt freeing. By letting go of pride, we allow ourselves to grow and connect with others on a deeper level. Implementation tip. Practice humility by acknowledging when you're wrong or when someone else has a better idea. This openness promotes self-awareness and strengthens relationships. The ultimate goal: inner peace and enlightenment. Hawkins' ultimate message is about transcending lower consciousness levels and moving toward inner peace and, eventually, enlightenment. These are states in which we're no longer tied to external outcomes or material desires, but find fulfillment in our inner being. Practical implementation for inner peace. Begin and end each day with gratitude. Cultivate a sense of contentment and joy in simple moments, whether it's a walk in nature, time with loved ones, or personal achievements. This consistent practice can lift you closer to the level of peace. Moving from force to power. Power versus force isn't just about understanding concepts. It's a roadmap to a more fulfilling life. By recognizing the difference between force and power and choosing to operate from higher levels of consciousness, we can transform not only our lives but also the world around us. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. How are you planning to apply these insights in your daily life? Let's discuss.